Welcome to the Verdin Verdict Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin. Got my guy G-Sportz in the cut with me. G, what's good? How you feeling, man?
What it do, man?
Got a good week ahead of us. Back in Tiger Stadium. This is the first time that LSU is 1-0 in Death Valley. That's right, the Death Valley. Since 2019, G. Got a special season brewing ahead of us. What are you looking forward to? How you feeling about this game? I know we kind of briefly talked about it Monday, and you said minus 37. I just want to make sure you're still feeling that way. We still feeling the 40 ball?
No, I said they should win by 28 or
Oh,
more.
okay. Well, the spread is minus 37. That's what's in my head right now. Vegas is adding an extra little 10-point line yap on there for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they win by 37, but I'm gonna just go ahead and be safe and say 28 because when they put the twos and the threes in, you never know what might happen. Louisiana Tech might get a couple of cheap touchdowns, so I think it's safe to say that they could probably win by 28 or more.
Yeah, I understand. Feel it. I feel it. It'll be a good game. We'll break that down with some key playmakers. Let's go into Brian Kelly's notes first. We've had two times Coach Kelly took the podium since the victory. He talked on the teleconference today. He had his weekly press conference yesterday. Got a little snippy with Dabo Sweeney. G, he feeling a little confident. Come on, man. When you win one game like that on the road against a top five team, you gotta feel a little moxie. You gotta feel like, okay, we're the number one ranked team in the SEC. I gotta have a little swag on the podium. And Dabo came out. If you missed it, I don't know how, but if you missed it, he came out and said, LSU got a 65, they got a 58. It was like both teams took a final on week one of this semester. Brian Kelly obviously rebutted, saying, I don't know if he's just a good grader on them, tough grader on us, or if he didn't watch the second half, but he thought they dominated them. And I'm gonna go out and agree. If you shut out a team in the second half, I don't think that there's any question marks about who had the upper hand in that performance. He said they both didn't play great. I'm sure Dabo Sweeney don't want to give the credit to Brian Kelly, but I like the way that BK responded. Did you see that? And what was your reaction?
Yeah, Dabo has always been known to be salty after a loss. It's hard for him to give the opposing team credit, and if he does give him credit, he comes right back a sentence or two later and says something that questions or contradicts what he just said. So I think Brian Kelly, had fun with it. I do disagree with Brian Kelly when he said they dominated them in the second half. The defense dominated, but offensively they did not dominate. So, and Dabo, if you watch the whole press conference, which I did, he pointed out two or three plays where if Clay K. Klubnik makes the right read, it's probably a touchdown. So I can understand when you go back and watch the film from a head coach's perspective, you see different things that when you got a veteran quarterback like that, if they make the play they're used to making, that you're accustomed to making, you think the game goes differently. So that's probably why he said what he said. I don't have a problem with it. He didn't say it in maliciously. He kind of said it in a joking way.
Mm-hmm.
So, all in all, Brian Kelly's feeling good about himself, and as he should.
Yep. And that's BK, that sarcastic humor, bro. I mean, the 4 years we've had him here, I feel like you got accustomed to that pretty quickly. But like I said, gotta have that confidence, gotta be able to show, all right, cool. Yeah, I believe in not only what I bring to the table, but what this team brings to the table, because now that pours back into the building. Now everybody feels like, all right, cool. Yeah, we can handle this. If coach feels it, I feel it. Let's talk about what he said this morning. Had a nice, interesting description as to why this team is better than the years before. It was clean, cut, dry. G, he said, better player. Gave a little chuckle after that, but I mean, it's obvious when you're talking about the defense. Yeah, you were saying the offense kind of had its struggle in periods. I agree, but just the fact that you got so many weapons, so many pieces, so much depth on the squad, it's hard to kind of pinpoint an area where LSU is really struggling, because even in, let's say, offensive line, which was my biggest worry, you had some very big, bright, shining moments with Braylon Moore, especially with him getting SEC offensive lineman of the week. Some people were ranking transfers, put him as a top 10 transfer in the entire nation. But what I've liked the most from this team, I think, is just I'm not gonna say maturity, but it seems like this is a different group that's been around the block, that's a little more experienced. And I mean, it's not like they're figuring things out, or they're just getting their bearings for the first time. It feels different this year, I would say. What's your take on that? And then just his comment, better players this year, because I feel like, as I said at the beginning, it is pretty obvious. It's pretty clear.
Yeah, if you go back to some of those post game segments that we had in Tiger Stadium, I said this after about two or three games that they just don't have good players on the defensive side of the ball. They got to get better on that side. They got to get more athletic. They got to get more edge rushers. They got to get better in the secondary, and that's what they did in the portal. They made a point of emphasis to go get some more edge rusher. That's edge rushers. That's why they went got Pyburn, Jamari and Butler, Patrick Payton, and you saw the difference. You went got Mansour Delane at corner, right? AJ Halsey, Tamarcus Cooley. Those guys made a huge difference on Saturday night against Clemson with their experience. And I think one of the things that Brian Kelly likes the most about these guys that came in the portal, that they didn't come here for individual accolades. They came here to try to win a national championship. Because as we all know, as cliche as it might sound, team success brings individual success. And that's what
Mhm.
happened. They had the team success. Mansell Delane got player of the week. Braylon Moore got player of the week for the offensive lineman, right? That's what you're gonna have happen when you do your job and come into to a program and do things the correct way. He talked about Patrick Payton, how him and Pyburn did a great job of just doing their job, allowing it to open up things for Wes Weeks and Parrell Perkins. Even when PJ Woodland came on the blitz off the boundary, he talked about if Patrick Payton don't do his job and squeeze inside to take that tackle, that the gap doesn't open up for PJ Woodland to come get that sack. And so
Right.
when you got guys buying in, and you credit to Blake Baker, getting guys to understand, you just do your job, we gonna have a lot of success, and every game is going to be different. This past week against Clemson, it was Mansour Delane, it was Harold Perkins, it was Wes Weeks. The next week it might be Patrick Payton from a standpoint, or Pyburn, right? I thought Bernard Gooden didn't get enough credit in this past Saturday. He was super disruptive and very violent with his hands throughout the whole game. He got a lot of penetration up the gap that made Klubnik have to roll out the pocket when he didn't want to. So it's people like that, bro, that's making this defense so good. And I just think that every week is gonna be somebody different that steps up.
I agree, and that's the good part about this, especially. And then, like building off of your point, it's going to continuously get better because this was the first round. And the second round, they're going to have more experience. The third round, they're going to have more continuity. Going into this next week, though, Brian Kelly was talking about just the decisions he made last week in Clemson and like the 4th and 2 before the half. He was saying they're leaning on analytics, but he's trying to find a good little balance between coaching experience, your intuitiveness, and I mean, it's not always a go. Whenever, okay, yeah, it seems like it's in the green right now, 4th and 2, 4th and short. All right, let's take it. But in that instance, before the half, you could have had 3 points. You could have cut the lead to a one possession game. And it's not the end of the world. You won the game. You're not trying to nitpick, but he owned up to that mistake, leading and also saying that in the fourth quarter, they had an opportunity to go for it. They didn't. They punted the football. And he's going to kind of uh, keep in mind that the analytics don't always tell the whole side of the story, G. I mean, sure, numbers are numbers, but there's also many other factors. The time of possession, the amount of chances you're going to have left in terms of how many times you're going to get the ball back in this game. Like, there's a lot of factors that are going to weigh in it besides analytics. And a lot of people have given scrutiny to Brian Kelly on him not taking points or him trying too many things. And I know there's a good balance of being aggressive and being conservative. But it was interesting that he gave mention to that, at least, because I feel like, once again, this is another indication that LSU is experienced and kind of heading into that championship contending spotlight. Because I feel like when you're making decisions like this, you've been around the block, you screwed up a little bit, and you've learned from your mistakes. And this is going to be what I think potentially helps LSU down the road, because when you're in these one-score games, when you're in these games where you look back, hindsight's 2020, and I should have kicked this year, and I shouldn't have went for it there, because there's not just a point aspect in it. G, there's a field and like a field position and a momentum side of it as well. Because if you're turning the ball over, dog, they could get the ball in plus territory. It's less yardage for their offense to be able to get. And then, like I said, with the momentum side of things, that's huge. Your defense is all hyped up, jacked up. Offense gets to come out right after that and build off of it. And I just thought it was interesting that Brian Kelly was given homage to that, saying, okay, yeah, I get it. Analytics aren't always the way to go about it. What's your thoughts on that? And if you were Brian Kelly in that instance, are you going for it? You rolling dice a little bit?
First of all, when he decided to go for it on 4th and 2, I was super against that.
Yeah.
I thought they should take the three and go into halftime with some momentum, feeling good about this. So,
Mm-hmm.
Brian Kelly's been coaching for over 30 years, bro. And one thing, the mark of a good head coach is you have a feel. You have a feel during the game of how your team is playing, um, what could work, what can't work. It's just a certain feeling you have as a head coach, a good head coach, when you've been doing it so long. Sometimes I think relying on the analytics is not a good decision in my opinion. Sometimes, man, let's just take the analytics out of it and tell me how you're feeling. What does your discernment tell you? And sometimes your discernment might tell you something different than what the analytics are telling you. I'm not a big analytical guy. Don't get me wrong. I pay attention to it in certain situations, but I think that some of these head coaches get too caught up with the analytics. Man, what is your gut feeling tell you?
Right.
What have y'all been repping at practice? What have you been seeing from your team throughout the course of this game and the course of the season or fall camp or whatever the case may be on a particular play y'all been running? Or when they line up in this and y'all line up in that, do y'all have success? That's when that's what the good head coaches do. And I just would love to see Brian Kelly start sticking to his discernment and how he's feeling about his team at that particular time instead of relying on analytics. So no, I definitely wouldn't have went for it on 4-2. I would have put it on a big toe and got my 3 points and got went in the halftime feeling really, really good about myself.
I agree, yeah, because you would have drawn it that much more closer. And then at the end of the day, when you look at all the points left out in the field, Green Brown touchdown, that's besides the point. You got a whole nother 10 points out there, big dog. Like that's 27-10. You're out there covering a 17-point spread on the road against a top five team. But hey, you got time to build on it. Let's look at LA Tech real quick, G. It's gonna be an interesting game. First game, like I said, Tiger Stadium, 1-0. Everybody soak it up. When you walk in there, just smell the air. See if it hits a little different. Might remind you. Might give you a little nostalgia, the Joe Burrow times. Here's my keys. I don't got a lot of them. I don't think this is too tough of a contest. I'm not trying to undermine anybody, and that's going to be one of my keys. You got to play smart. Don't reach anything. Don't force anything. Second key, let the youngins in, bro. This is an opportunity to test that depth. Jelani Watkins, Harlan Berry, Michael Van Buren on the defensive side, Mike Turner, Keelan Moses. They're going to be able to get some on the back end, I think, potentially. Got someone in the chat asking if Manchild's going to step in. Hey, if LSU goes up like we think they will, more than likely. Also, I wanted to note this as well. Blake Baker and Joe Sloan are going to get to face their old school. It's like that'll be a cool moment as well. Here's my opinion on it. I went look at the Southeastern game. It was a little slow. 3-0 in the first half. LA Tech up. They finished 24-0. It took a little minute to get those scores. Uh, wasn't really a tough game. They did lose a total yard battle. 263 total yards for the Bulldogs, 273 for Southeastern. And LA Tech went 3 for 10 on third down. G. I think turnovers helped in this game. They got 3 of them. That was what tipped it in the Bulldogs' favor, gave them more opportunities, gave them the ability to be able to create. Here are my playmakers to know. Offense, tight end, Eli Finley, number 84, had 4 catches for 60 yards, 15 yards per carry. Their running back, Clay Thievenin, had 61 yards on 6 carries. It's 10 yards per carry. Shout out to him. For the tight end, I ain't worried too much. You got Harold Perkins, you got AJ Halsey, you got a lot of people that are going to be able to go over him. I've seen them do it over Trey Green in practice. G, if you could do it on Mr. 6'7", you could probably do it on anybody in the country. Last note I want to make for this offensive focus: the running back got 10 yards per carry, sure. However, he is not the leader in carries. Last week, the quarterback got 16 carries, dog. So you're going to get a little bit of a balance and a little bit of a test before Florida, quite frankly. It's not the biggest one, but you get to see your linebackers against a little bit of quarterback mobility and a running back that could potentially not bully you, but I mean, he's going to go ahead and fight and get some yards. It's a good test, at least for the defense, and you're really going to be able to see how far they're going to be able to go through these next 5 games. Last point before I let you talk. Next 5 games, LSU plays 3 top 20 teams. G, this is really one of your only times you get to sit back and breathe and relax. So I would soak that up. I ain't going to lie, LSU fans. You're going to be in a little bit of a gauntlet, and it starts after this week. G, how you feeling about LA Tech and what you think and who your playmakers?
The Tigers need to get this one over pretty quickly. Knowing that you got the Florida Gators coming into town on week 3 at home, you need to get your starters in there, dominate these people, let them go sit down and let them get their rest and let these young guys get some burn. I'm familiar with Louisiana Tech's roster a little bit. I know on the defensive side of the ball, I know Kobe Fields, who played at LSU. He was the defensive player of the year in the Conference USA last year. A good player. I'm sure he's going to have a chip on his shoulder to be able to show that staff, look, this is what y'all missed out on. So I expect him to come playing at a high level on Saturday. Michael Reshard, the safety, who's been starting since a true freshman for Louisiana Tech, really instinctive. They like to use him kind of how Blake uses AJ Halsey. He's kind of that free safety where he robs down and plays in the middle of the field and jumps and tries to anticipate routes. So I expect him to be playing on a higher level. Him and Aaron Anderson, he went to Edna Call. Him and Aaron Anderson and Destin Hill all went to the same high school and they used to go at it at practice. So it's gonna be a lot of smack talking between those guys. At the running back position, Amari Wiggins was their leading rusher last year. Played at Acadiana High School. Really, really good back. Runs hard. Runs with good pad level. I expect him to probably be their leading rusher, if not the quarterback on Saturday. And Fred Robinson, who played at Warren Easton High School, is a home run threat. If he gets out in space and gets to that second level, he could take it 80. So he's that dynamic. But I don't expect this to be a game. The way LSU looked and the way how motivated they are right now to try to keep going 1-0 each week. I think they win this game, like I said earlier in this segment, man, by 28 or more for sure.
I could see it. I could see it. Talking about the Kobe Fields, bro, he had 13 tackles last week. And then Makai Mason, the linebacker next to him, had 9 tackles, 2 sacks, 4.5 tackles, loss. Here's my picks. I'm gonna ride with you. I'm gonna get a little dangerous, G. I ain't gonna lie to you. All right. So here's my thought process. The total is 51. So we're sitting here talking about LSU potentially winning by 38. That's close to 40. Shit, you might as well take the safe pick in my eyes. Take the total at 51. Give LA Tech about 10 points. They might score. They might score. If they don't, FanDuel has this prop. Now, G, you're going to look at me like I'm insane. It's plus 340 for LSU to get a shutout. You might as well throw $20 on that. You might as well throw $20 on that, bro. That's some of the best value you're going to get all season. Now, I'm not saying it's going to hit. I'm just saying if you want a little lotto on Saturday, I think that's the direction to lean. But I do think LSU clears it. I think the spread's good. It's fat, but I think they can take care of it. That's my opinion. Let's move into this AP poll real quick before we hop out of here. LSU number 3, obviously. Everybody knows Ohio State, Penn State 1 and 2. Those are no brainers. Makes sense. People are mad about Penn State right there, G. Look, I think they got a squad. Drew Aller, Singleton, Katron Allen. There is an opportunity for them rankings to shake up, though. They're going to play Oregon in about 2 to 3 weeks. So if something's going to happen for Penn State, it's going to happen right about there. If they're going to win and be a top caliber team, we're going to find out. If they're going to lose and drop and the rankings are going to reshuffle, once again, we're going to find out. But LSU at number 3, I think, is the perfect spot. That's where I would have put them. They're the number 1 ranked SEC squad. They got the 5th best title odds. And once again, these next 5 games, dog, you will find out just about everything you need to know about these Tigers, whether they play Florida, whether they play Ole Miss or South Carolina. Each one of those matchups brings their own challenges and their own unique set of issues that LSU is going to face. So the biggest one is going to be quarterback mobility. And quite frankly, G, it's interesting because before the season, we were both talking about who our toughest games are going to be. You said Florida, I said South Carolina. After watching South Carolina versus Virginia Tech, I'm feeling better about the South Carolina game, and I'm going to have to double down and go with you on the Florida one because it
Was not
seems like
impressed. I was not impressed.
and I'm not trying to say nothing. It's week 1. I'm gonna give y'all some time to readjust. Lenore, he had that good run on the first drive. It was rough. That whole
We knew
first
we
half.
knew that we knew that already by Lenore Sellers.
Yeah,
We
and
knew
we
he could
do.
run.
It
We
was
knew
rough.
that.
The best moment was that Nick Harbor shot at the end that put it
We knew he could
away.
do that. We knew he
And
could just drop back and throw a 9 ball to Nick Hall. We knew that already.
like that, those were the best 2 moments for me from Lenoris. I think that if Virginia Tech's keeping it that close, I'm a lot more confident for LSU versus that one. I think LSU can run through this gauntlet though, and if you do it, you're the number 1 team in the country, dog. I ain't lying to you. Last couple of points. Texas slid down to 7. I think that's too crazy. That's 6 spots, dog. After losing to number 3 on the road, defending champs, and it's a close game. It's 14-7. I feel like that was a little too far. I could see it though. It's whatever. Alabama fell down to 21. Jesus Christ. And Florida State, who was unranked, jumped into the top 15. Welcome in at number 14. Shout out Coach Norvell. What's your reaction to the AP poll? Do you think anybody's too high, too low? And what do you think about LSU at number 3?
I think that's well deserved for LSU to be at number 3. Penn State, Georgia, and Oregon. We don't know how good they are right now. We don't really know how good they are because they didn't play a good team in week 1. We know how good Notre Dame is. Even though Notre Dame lost to Miami in a close one, I think Notre Dame gonna be in that 12-team playoff, dog. I really was impressed with them. The biggest question mark for them was how could CJ Carr come out on the road in his first year starting and weather the storm against the Hurricanes. And I think he did really, really good. They was right there at the end. So that lets me know that Notre Dame is further along than Texas. That's just how I feel. Because CJ Carr and Arch Manning both started their first game of their career, and CJ Carr looked at light years ahead of Arch Manning. So until Penn State plays somebody, until Georgia plays somebody, until Oregon plays somebody, I don't really know how good they are. We know they are good teams and they well deserving to be in that top 10. But I just need to see how good when they go against another inferior opponent. So um I think LSU is gonna have because you say Penn State play Oregon soon, right?
Yeah, 27th, I believe, is the date.
So there's a good chance if LSU keep trending in the right direction, they'll be at number 2 in no time.
Yep. Which is insane. I mean, man, you really got an opportunity this season. Everybody, bro, I just want to say this before we end the stream. We about to get out of here. Nobody been giving Brian Kelly enough credit, dog. Everybody wanted the rebuild to be so damn quick. Everybody wanted it to happen instantaneous. Quite frankly, you went to the SEC title game in year one. I feel like it wasn't slow. It didn't take forever. You're in year four and you had some flashes. You were getting double-digit win seasons. You weren't at the bottom of the barrel. Like, you never had a real growing pain period. Sure, you had Jaden Daniels win the Heisman, everybody clutching their hearts because the defense couldn't stop anybody, and you feel like that was your year. But all in all, like, I'll be real, I'm impressed with Brian Kelly, and I also feel like the support he's getting right now, he should have been getting. I feel like the whole trend of this program, everybody's just paying attention now because you reached a point. But as they were getting to there, as they were getting close, as they were getting, okay, yeah, let's use we're making some noise. I don't think anybody was giving them flowers at that point. It's weird to see the nation. Like, I'm not trying to say glaze LSU, but yeah, glaze LSU. Everybody thinking they're a national championship contender, and I feel it. I believe it, but it's just wild to hear everybody collectively say that.
A lot of these fan bases, when you talk about the blue blood schools, they just very unrealistic, bro. Let's take Bill Belichick, who people were saying is one of the best NFL coaches in the history of the game. And as I always say, and I will always stick to this, and maybe I feel so passionate about this because I do coach and I
Mm-hmm.
understand it on a whole nother level. Players make the program, not the coaches. I don't give a damn how elite of a coach you are. If you don't have them dudes, if you don't have them guys, you're not gonna win consistently. It ain't gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen. And the first 3 years on the offensive side of the ball, LSU was loaded. On the defensive side of the ball, they had average talent, and that's why they could never get over the hump since Brian Kelly has been there. Well, I think he knew going into year four, that hot seat was upon him. I think he knew that if he didn't get it done this year, a buyout could be coming. So you know what he did? He made sure that money talk and bullshit walk. I'm going to get the best players money could buy on the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to get some corners. I'm going to get some safeties. I'm going to get some edge rushers. I'm going to get guys on that side of the ball so we can match what our offensive talent has. And you seen it on Saturday night, bro. And the way they looking right now, this is the most complete team. And people been saying it all off season. This is the most complete team and the most talented roster he's had. And I think as long as they can handle success, I'm big on that because everybody can't handle success.
Not
As long as
everybody.
they can, as long as they can handle success, and they keep using that 1-0 mentality week in and week out, there's no doubt in my mind they'll be in a national championship. I can't say definitively right now they are the best team in the country. I still need to see a little more, but I do think they have what it takes to be in a national championship.
I agree. And Brian Kelly spoke to your point this morning about that. He was saying in the SEC, dog, you ain't out coaching and you're relying on that to go undefeated in Atlanta. You ain't out scheming every single week if you don't got the people to be able to fit into that scheme and
I
play.
have dudes.
Respond. Yeah, 100%. It goes without saying. We're
It's
about to
not.
get
It's
out of here.
it's not always about the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmys and the Joes.
Shout out Jimmy and shout out Joe. You got a hell of a lot of them in Baton Rouge right now repping that purple and
Yes, they do.
it'll be an exciting Saturday. I'm gonna see you down there, G. We're gonna be doing our post game show. Y'all tune in Friday at 1 o'clock. We're gonna have a couple of picks for you as well. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Y'all know the drill. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. Hit that thumbs up before you hop out of here. G, appreciate your time and y'all have a good one.
No doubt.